Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of SuperShares powered by Q. This is a special episode of SuperShares because many of you know this week is, yes, Spring Q, a great celebration of innovation and education happening in Palm Springs, California, this coming Thursday, March 21st, all the way through Saturday, March 23rd. And with Spring Q, we love to pride ourselves on bringing the best educators, the best experts, the best devices, and the best applications that are needed in the classroom today. And we love to bring forward during the week of Spring Q some of our amazing vendors who are going to be sharing some new and amazing things that their products are doing, or maybe some great activations they will be doing at the conference itself. And I'm excited because this tool is a very phenomenal way of getting students truly involved into the creation and the just amazing aspect of what can be done on a computer. And so, don't hear from me. All right, we're going to bring John from Amplify on to tell us a little bit more about amplify.com, which you see scrolling across the bottom. So here we go. John, welcome. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. This is the Spring Q audience. So this is everybody who's excited about coming to the event. Can you please introduce yourself? And, if anybody watching this doesn't know what Amplify is, can you please give them a little snippet of what Amplify can do?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Joe. Yeah, I'm John Hoogestraat. Great to be here with you. Really excited to be attending Q again this week. I've been fortunate to get to experience it the last several years, and always a great time and so much to learn and engage with. So yeah, really excited. I'm a product specialist with Amplify, which essentially means I get to work with a lot of amazing educators. I get to I bounce around, travel a bit, but really it's been an eye-opening experience for me, kind of transitioning from being a middle school math teacher, spent some time at Desmos. And as many of you probably know, as Desmos and Amplify on the curricular side have really joined forces, I'm really lucky to get to be part of the Amplify team and spread the good word about all that we're crafting and building to help support teachers and educators across the country.
I love hearing is when, experts like yourself come from the classroom, right? You're not just working behind a desk thinking about how this could be used in the classroom. You know it, you've seen it, and you're using that expertise to help craft a product that will be meaningful, not only for educators, but for students as well. And you mentioned Desmos, right? As I was a science teacher for many years, and I used Desmos in my class. I mean, there's a lot of math in science, and Desmos is a very powerful tool. And knowing now that Desmos is a part of the Amplify family, I think that is really just an amazing dynamic duo, as you will. Can you tell us a little bit about Desmos and Amplify, or maybe Desmos Classroom, and what that can do for educators, or specifically the Q community?
Yeah, I love how you brought up that science background, because so many teachers have used Desmos Classroom, and specifically the Activity Builder platform that we is a free tool. And that's something we really intend to keep free indefinitely to support all educators. So I love the science connection you made, because one of the really powerful things about what Desmos Classroom does is it takes this platform that teachers can really leverage for a variety of ways, right? It really taps into student thinking, gives teachers a lot of flexibility to build meaningful learning experiences for their students, and also provides tons of facilitation tools where we can really tap into the background of what students know and have that real-time, in-the-moment feedback to support students, which ultimately is the goal. And I think that's always been our approach, kind of coming from the graphing calculator background, which was the origin of Desmos. However, teachers are incredibly creative, and we see them running all sorts of directions with any tool that we continue to build and put out there. So yeah, so we're really excited about that. Specifically, we're really excited, and we've created a couple free collections that are really K-5 focused. So a lot of people think of Desmos, and they really think of like secondary math. I mentioned that graphing calculator background, but we're really, as we're moving forward and trying to think of different ways that we can engage students, I'm really excited about some of our free collections that are in that K-5 specifically space. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old myself, and so I've been really enthused to get to try to play and share with them some of the really cool activities that I see that we're rolling out with. So yeah, excited about it.
Yeah, I love that you're mentioning our elementary educators, because a very large percentage of our attendees at the conference are elementary school educators, and I think you're absolutely right. There's this misconception that Desmos is this tool that is specifically geared towards secondary, and knowing that it can be used for our littlest of learners. You didn't just say like fourth through sixth; you said K through 5. Knowing that it can be
Yep.
used with our learners, I think is very empowering. And you mentioned you have a 4 and 8-year-old. I have a 5 and 7-year-old. So I'm right there with you, where I
We're in the
want
thick of it. In the thick of it.
it really, it changes. Like, I was an 8th grade science teacher for many years, right? So I didn't understand, how that early education truly affects the growth of our children. And
Mhm.
seeing it firsthand, I think the more we can empower our educators to be able to use tools that can be used beyond secondary and go down to these littlest of primary levels, I think is phenomenal. And you mentioned free resources, right? I think that's
Yep.
key. Like, if educators went to Amplify and used Desmos Classroom, or just Amplify in general, um, are there free resources created by Amplify, or also free resources created by educators that can then be like used in their classes, to kind of port it over, and kind of like a, sharing is caring kind of opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. I just pulled up a tab that I'm sharing with you, that it looks like you've got pulled up. So right there, if you take a quick glance at that, what you'll see on that screen is you'll see some of these free collections or featured collections. A lot of this is built by Desmos as kind of free resources pushed out for teachers. But there's a ton that's also created by the community. So a lot of what you'll see, and I'm just on teacher.desmos.com. This is a free stop. Anyone can go here and try this out. I was mentioning that K5 lesson activities and a bunch of the support that's in there. So if I pop into there right away, you can see a lot of the really amazing free tools and free resources that are available for our young learners. Something I mentioned working with my kids the other day. I love this one. What sum do you see? This just really shows anybody could do this. Anybody can pop in and just jump in. This would be a great classroom starter. So notice I can hit roll, and I have this
Mm.
really amazing, what do you see right there? So this is something you could just launch with. Students put a finger on their nose and say, oh, I see 7. How do you see 7? Right. So, I mean, I think this could be used across the board. I love the little graphics and the elements. This incorporates Polypad, which is a feature built by Mathagon, which is also a tool that's available under the Amplify umbrella as well. So again, just a really nice, fun resource. Notice as I pivot back a minute, there's tons of resources, lessons for K5, mini lessons, some emphasis on math routines, and these really bite-sized moments that I just clicked into. So really powerful tools that are available. And just like I said, tons of free resources, some constructed by Desmos and our family, but also those that have just been pushed out by teachers. Because as we all know, teachers can be so creative on their own.
Yeah, yeah. I have to admit that the dashboard that you're showing is very slick. It's very welcoming.
Mhm.
I know you could probably remember like the first kind of iteration of Desmos. It was still
Yeah.
very. It was a little bit intimidating. You had to dive in and
Yeah.
really kind of break open the hood. This is very, very welcoming.
Oh yeah.
And the ease of finding an activity, clicking on the activity, and then sharing the
Mhm.
activity, that's phenomenal. I love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I mean, I just clicked into that lessons, and right here you'll see a bunch of lessons. Notice by Desmos Classroom, some of the other featured collections that I could navigate back to. We have a 612, some recently released, all across the board. So notice it gets a little heavier. We have a calculus collection. But like I said, just thinking of maybe for selfish reasons with my own little ones in mind, I'm really excited about a lot of what we're doing for kind of our younger learners. And like you said, a lot of our attendees at Q who sometimes, the intersection of technology in the K5 space can sometimes be um, less apparent immediately versus in the secondary space where we've become so dependent on technology and how we engage with all our older students.
Yeah, I mean, I actually just took a note right now, of a couple things that I want to share with my daughters when they get home from school today, because I think they're going to have an absolute blast with some of these. Um, uh, with these activities, how would the teacher, um, use them with their students? Would it be more of a demo, the teacher, like you were sharing with the dice up front, have the kids, identify and say why? Would it be maybe if it's students who have their own personal devices, or a way to push it out to them and have them play around with it? How is it pushed out in different ways where it can be utilized by the teacher in the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can go a lot of different directions. The one I was just highlighting, this kind of ways you make 10. I could see teachers, doing this with students up in the carpet, so if I popped in and was modeling that same screen I was just working with, another really cool feature is I can roll and I could just flash that for you quick a minute, and I can flash it off. I could roll and I have a time delay where I can show it and it's going to hide momentarily. So students have to think about hiding that just briefly. But so I could see this, when I think of an elementary K-5 space, I could see, pulling the kids up to the carpet, the teacher using this on an interactive whiteboard and just kind of using this functionality and really making this visual for students as they think about fluency and subitizing in this case. But then some of our other lessons, if I pivot into another example, you could go more of the true kind of route where I assign this and push this out. So if I jump into some of our actual K-5 lessons that I've been hitting on, I was doing this one, my daughter's in 2nd grade. So notice here, this is a lesson that I could assign using kind of that purple assign button. I could do that as a single session code and my students could pop right in, and then they, as students, would interact with these screens on their own individual devices. So there's a lot of flexibility, and that's something, as we think hard about K-5, that we've really tried to build in. I know sometimes time's always of the essence with the space for elementary educators. So how can we really push on creating flexibility and how you can leverage technology and use it intentionally in ways that really make sense for you and your students?
Yeah, I always look at tools and we, you think of the KISS model, right? Keep it student simple. All right. You want to be able to have the students access it in a simple way. And then the tool makes the most impact. So you don't have to worry about, the various logon issues that could appear. So I absolutely love this. Before we jumped on, we were chatting a little bit, and I don't know if you want to mention this, or if this is something you're going to unveil at Q, but you said there's going to be some, changes to Desmos, or additions to Desmos, some exciting things. Do you want to talk about it here, or you talk about what you're going to be talking about at Spring Q?
Yeah, I'd love to hit on that. Well, one thing I'll say first, and I'm just reading this banner myself, and maybe I should call out. So I just kind of jumped into the free. We also do have currently like a full built out curriculum for 6 through A1, which you can see that little free trial. So I just want to highlight, some of you might be like, hey, what's that start a trial button do right there? So if there was interest in kind of some of the curriculum that goes beyond what I just kind of highlighted to some of those featured collections, we do offer these like free trials that anyone can jump in and just kind of explore for yourself. I know teachers love to hear about things, but even more than hearing, they love to jump in and get their hands dirty and try it out for themselves. So know that there's that little button. Again, I'm just at teacher.desmos.com, and you can pop right in and access that free trial. But Joe, you kind of queued me up to, sorry, the pun, but you queued me up for kind of where we're going next with, we're really, as Amplify, you might be hearing Amplify, I'm talking Desmos, like what's the intersection of these two amazing companies? And really, yeah, we're going to be at booth 801 there. Thanks for the banner. But really what we've been building, what we've been working towards the last several years since the curricular side of Desmos Classroom really joined forces with Amplify, is to truly create a K-12 curriculum called Amplify Desmos Math that's really going to be supportive for all students and all teachers. So kind of taking the amazing digital experience that Desmos has built in that interactive platform and really embedding that, if you will, with a lot of the background experience that Amplify has in terms of taking and really amplifying, as the name implies, a product and wrapping around with a lot of amazing print resources and truly making it a core curriculum that all teachers in the TK space through grade 12 can use as a powerful resource and support for students moving forward. We're going to be unveiling that and doing some demos at Q. So right across from our booth at room 801, I believe, thank you, Joe, that's in Mesquite H. So we're going to be doing demos. You get to come see me if you want. I'm going to be doing some demos on Thursday, March 21st, and that's from 11:30 to 12:30. Also during that time, we're going to have lunch. So no, we're encouraging you to attend. We'll provide lunch, jump in and see some sneak peeks of what Amplify Desmos Math is going to be all about. try to highlight some of the K-5 space. And I know K-5 educators oftentimes have questions about, the balance of when students are on devices versus more in other mediums and how that can connect. We're going to be really emphasizing those features as well. So excited to share what's to come and a lot of the excitement that we're building around Amplify Desmos Math, with that kind of Desmos interactive experience being kind of at the core of it.
No, I love it. And one last thing I want to touch on is you talked about print materials, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where people think you have to go all tech or no tech, and the idea is providing materials, providing activities that meets the moment. And sometimes the moment is the print materials. Sometimes the moment is the ed tech materials. It's finding the balance in that blended learning style that truly could amplify the learning happening within the classroom. And so I love the fact that you brought up it is a complete curriculum. It is opportunities that has the print material to do hands-on stuff in the classroom, and then also the opportunity to have some demos with Desmos on the digital end. I really appreciate that, because sometimes I think that gets lost in the discussions with integrating tech into the classroom, right?
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Joe. And that's something as we've kind of been building this new curriculum, we've really been focusing on, is just that intentionality. Like, to me, technology is great, but if we're using technology for the sake of just using technology, then like, what's the impact of learning and how does it help? And I'm coming from a math background, but how does this really help students visualize and see and connect the mathematics? And if it doesn't benefit that, then why are we doing it, right? So to me, what we're really taking a hard look at as we design the curriculum is where and when and how often we're giving students the space to interact with technology, versus when is using a different medium, be that print, be that manipulatives, be that centers where students are rotating through a variety of structures. How can we really create, like you mentioned, that balanced approach? And I'm sure you've seen this too, and I know you're probably like myself, like I'm pretty tech leaning. That's probably why I'm where I'm at today, right? But when I think of my students still, I'm kind of like, do I want my daughter on an iPad all the time? Like, not necessarily, right? So I know there's this balance. And so I'm really enthusiastic about kind of what we've been building and the direction we have. And like I said, just that really thoughtful, intentional approach that we're working towards and creating for our young learners.
I love that. I think that's a new tagline for Amplify. Amplify, thoughtful, intentional learning. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Turn that into a t-shirt. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I should join the marketing team. There you go.
There you go. That's a freebie. Next one's going to cost you. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for Spring Q this week. I'm excited to come meet you in person. And everybody, again, don't forget, you can see John and the Amplify team in Mesquite H. And then on Wednesday, when is Thursday, March 21st? That's the very first day of the conference at 11:30 to 12:30. And you can get some free lunch, right? Also Friday, March 22nd. And see how Amplify is truly changing the game and how Desmos is really a part of that change. John, any final words before we close out for today?
No, I mostly just thanks for the time, Joe. I appreciate getting to spend some time with you, and really looking forward to this week at Q. And just, like I said, hopefully some of you will come out and get to see the exciting things that we're building and working towards. And truly, I'm just really positive about what we're building for that TK through 12 audience, which I think is going to really change the game in terms of not only students, but also teachers. Because I think we got to consider both avenues, right? The classroom community is really a balance of those two groups, right? So how do we build this for students and for our Q community? So excited. Please come out and join us. We'll love to see you and chat it up. So excited this week.
Excellent. Love it. Don't forget, amplify your Q experience by visiting Amplify at booth 801 and attending their sessions in Mesquite H on Thursday and Friday. John, thank you so much for being here, my friend. And those of you watching, if you see us walking the conference halls, give us a fist bump, an elbow bump, a high five. Let us know how your Q experience is going. We cannot wait to see you live and in person in Palm Springs. So until then, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, everybody.